Hello everybody, today I'm bringing you with another video, and this time I'm going to be showing you the top 3 books for the SAT subject test for Math Level 2 specifically, and I am going to share with you the top 3 books that I thought were the best, and these helped me to get an 800 on the exam on the first try. And I took this in August 2019 for some reference, but without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, the first book that I want to talk about is the Barrons SAT Subject Test for Math Level 2, and this is going in my number 3 spot because it's best for someone who is trying to learn the concepts overall. If you're looking to revise or touch up on any old concepts, I'd say this is the book for you. And the reason I put it in number 3 is because if you know that Barrons does have a reputation for making problems sort of unnecessarily hard, and this does have a good element on the Math Level 2 subject test. It is good to have some experience with hard problems because there are problems which are very hard on the SAT subject test, Math Level 2, and it does provide good strategies, but I'd say its main weakness is that the problems are too hard, and they're not as hard as they'll show up on this exam. So that's why I put it in my number 3 spot, but it's really good for touching up on old concepts. And one thing that it really does well is that it evenly distributes how often the concepts will show up. For example, like they don't give you a bunch of polar coordinates problems, they only give you a few because polar coordinates is a relatively small concept in this exam, whereas they might give you a lot of problems on polynomial. Alright, the second one that I want to cover is the Mathematics Level 2 Study Guide from College Board. So it's official from College Board. They're the ones administering the exam, and this is their official study guide for it. And in it, they give 4 practice tests, which I think are very useful since they're basically the closest thing you have to the actual SAT subject test that you're going to be taking. So in that respect, it's very useful. However, in terms of content knowledge, it can be pretty vague as to explanations and such, but it does give a accurate representation through its practice tests as to how it's useful. Though, in terms of actually learning content, this isn't really a book that you'd want to use. This is a book that you'd more want to use if you're going late game, if you're late game into your studying, sorry. And it's a book that you'd want to use when you're nearing the end of your practice and you're nearing the test date. You don't want to do them all in one day, but you want to give yourself enough time, maybe like the week or 2 weeks before the exam. You'd want to finish up these 4 exams, check them out, and use the curves. They have curves on all books, by the way. Yeah, so make sure that you really check this book out. I do recommend that you get it. And by the way, I forgot to mention in the Barrons one that I will be leaving the links to all of these below so you can just access them as soon as you want. And they're pretty cheap to get on Amazon or eBay. Alright, now we're in the number 1 spot, and you can see it on screen, and I'm talking about the McGraw-Hill books. And I put 2 books here because I used both of them, but in reality, I think that the best one for you would just be to get the latest edition of whatever year you're taking this in. Just get the latest edition of the book, and you should be fine. I put both of the links here because these are what I use specifically, and these are the things that I found the best. And let me give you a little breakdown as to why. And I'm actually gonna have a hard time explaining this one, and the reason being, well, you might think that, hey, it's not College Board, so why are you putting it as number 1 on the list? And the reason being is that the practice tests are surprisingly close to the actual exam, and in it they have lots of practice tests. I think one of them has 10, the other has 9, so that's 19 practice tests. And assuming, depending on how much of a work ethic you have, you can blaze through them pretty fast, but it does provide a lot of good practice. And unlike Barrons, it's at a difficulty which is comparable to the actual exam that you'll be seeing. And frankly, like besides the actual College Board practice tests, I'd say when I took the Math 2 subject test, the closest like outside test prep book would be the one from McGraw Hill. And so for that reason, um, I would put it as a I put it as my number one. So and also uh yeah, that's pretty much the main reason why. And so if you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching. I made this pretty short. I didn't want to waste too much of your time with just 3 books. So yeah, thanks for watching.